And welcome to the program this week. I'm Layo Olarinde, bringing you stories from across the continent. We begin today with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend.
Citizens of Mauritius cast their ballots in the parliamentary elections clouded by a wiretapping scandal. Polls opened at 7 a.m. and closed at 6 p.m. local time in the 12th election since independence from the UK in 1968. 62 members are expected to be elected to the National Assembly. There were about 1 million registered voters, with the cost of living crisis topping the election issues. Whichever party or coalition gets more than half the seats in Parliament also wins the Prime Minister's post. The Prime Minister, Pravin Kumar Jugnauth's Militant Socialist Movement Party, as well as the opposition parties, have promised to address the issue in one of the most prosperous nations in Africa. Hundreds of people staged a demonstration in front of the Israeli embassy in Pretoria on Saturday, demanding ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon.
We demand, as people of South Africa, Lebanon, Palestine, Pakistan, and whomever joined us today, a permanent, immediate, irrevocable ceasefire. We demand a ceasefire.
The demonstrators waved Palestinian and Lebanese flags and held signs. Amongst others, Umaya Tiba, one of the protesters, demanded Israeli embassy be shut down. Another demonstrator shared her concerns about the election of Donald Trump as the U.S. president.
Under Biden, we saw military spending, military assistance, literally weapons going to bomb the Palestinian people, to commit genocide, going in numbers, going in increasing numbers from America. So it's unlikely that the policy of America will change.
I feel really strongly about Israel's impunity in the Middle East, the fact that they are getting away with acts of genocide and that they are illegally invading sovereign Lebanese territory, and this just has to stop. They need to know strongly how we feel, and more than that, our government, the South African government, needs to know that we demand that they take a strong stand against the Israeli genocidal regime. We want and we demand that the embassy here gets shut down already.
Hundreds of protesters gathered in the DRC's Beni to demand climate justice ahead of the COP29 summit in Baku, Azerbaijan. Demonstrators marched through the streets while brandishing placards and banners bearing slogans such as "One Planet, One Chance." The 29th conference of the parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change kicks off in Baku on Monday, November 11th. Government officials, policymakers, investors, and stakeholders will gather to address climate targets, financing, and strategies to maintain the 1.5 degrees centigrade global temperature goal. The conference will run till November 22nd.
Votes counting is underway in Mauritius after Sunday's parliamentary election. Citizens await the outcome of the closely contested election, with incumbent President Pravin Jugnauth and rival Navin Ramgoolam both claiming victory. The voter turnout, according to officials, was high at about 80%. The election was held against the backdrop of a phone-tapping scandal and raised concerns about the erosion of Mauritius's democracy. Authorities initially attempted a social media ban but reversed it amid public backlash. The campaign saw the ruling party, Militant Socialist Movement, facing off against the opposition's Alliance of Change, with both parties promising measures to address the rising cost of living despite strong economic growth in the country. Russia's President Vladimir Putin is offering what he calls total support for Africa, including in the struggle against terrorism and extremism. The speech was read out at a summit in the Black Sea resort of Sochi by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to his African counterparts. Well, during the summit, Burkina Faso's Foreign Minister Karamoko Jean Traoré said Russia was a more suitable international partner than the former colonial partner, France. It is a view shared by several of France's former colonies and was also reiterated by Mali's Foreign Minister Abdoulaye Diop, who contrasted the Kremlin's sincere partnership to what he called neo-colonial relationship of Western powers. He says that as well as military cooperation, Mali is now exploring other joint projects in energy, telecommunications, technology, and mining sectors. Several African governments have cut ties with traditional Western allies and are looking to Moscow for help in tackling frequent attacks by jihadists. South Africa is facing an increasingly worrisome crisis of the production, sale and consumption of illicit and counterfeit food products, which have regrettably caused illnesses and also resulted in fatalities, including of children. Well, in response to this, the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, CGCSA, has launched a national illicit awareness campaign using the tagline, Checker Die Ding, and that's Afrikaans language, meaning check that thing. The main focus of this campaign is to transform the public from being passive consumers into becoming vigilant buyers. Well, last month, unfortunately, 6 children died after eating contaminated snacks in a South African township. Some are said to still be in hospital, recovering. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi had said the children died from ingesting Turboforce, and it's a highly toxic organophosphate commonly used in pesticides. The snacks were reportedly purchased from a local spaza shop, an informal township store. Let's get more on this now. Joining us is the CEO of the Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, Zindle Chikwea from Johannesburg. Thank you so much for your time on Network Africa.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having us here. Good afternoon to yourself as well as your listeners.
Thank you very much. Well, your campaign says it's going to be focused on transforming consumers from being passive to vigilant buyers. What kind of actions or, behaviors are you encouraging consumers to adopt in the light of, recent unfortunate developments?
Yes, so thank you so much, Layo. I think what we are doing to ensure that South African consumers are vigilant, they know what they are eating and consuming, we are putting the power in their hands. We are today launching our app, which is My CGCSA app, which is linked to GS1, verified by GS1 database of products. As an industry association, we are our members are retailers as well as manufacturers, where we capture the information because we sell to them barcodes. With barcodes, you can track products from farm to fork. So now we are providing that ability to consumers because retailers as well as manufacturers has always had that. So with that vigilance and ability to see on your smartphone or not on your smartphone, you'll be able to download the app and see where does this product, who's the brand owner, where was it manufactured, where was it issued from, whether it's South Africa or across the world. So because we can track any product anywhere in the world. So that's what we are doing. But also on top of that, it's important that consumers are able to identify products. And from a food safety and nutrition perspective, it's important that you be vigilant and you see the environment of where you are buying these products or goods and make sure that that supplier that you are dealing with has right licensing that they should be displaying. In South Africa, we have something called a certificate of acceptability, which is issued by municipalities to make sure that that service provider or spaza shop or retailer has the right to sell you those products. So that's what we are doing.
So what are the primary challenges, faced by authorities and businesses in tackling the illicit food trade in South Africa? I imagine one of it could be, nipping the source of these illicit products.
So in South Africa, we have had a huge increase in the in the availability of illicit and counterfeit goods. I think the prevalence was made mostly because of COVID, where there was a shutdown in production and ability of movement, and especially with the alcohol as well as tobacco, those products were shut down. So people were sourcing this product in an illicit manner that was not in the right manner. So it increased the ability of illicit manufacturers to put these illicit products into the market. So consumers started understanding and receiving these cheap products and cheap goods, and they started using those. So we have a number of issues currently. We have illicit, we have counterfeit, and we even have food fraud, not only from a food perspective as well as pharmaceutical, because this is what has led the challenges. I think one of the biggest problems we are having in South Africa is law enforcement and adherence to law enforcement, because we have the regulation, we have the rules, we have the standard, but because of lack of law enforcement agencies, government, environmental health practitioners going into the townships to check from a health and safety, the security of these facilities that are selling food, and that's our biggest problem. So we just need to make sure that everyone knows that there is regulations, there is standards in South Africa that all producers and manufacturers and retailers need to adhere to, but the enforcement of it is our biggest challenge.
And, you know, given the scope of the problem, do you think this challenge or challenges you've mentioned can be fully addressed, or perhaps is something that will require an ongoing vigilance and collaboration?
It definitely does. It can be, definitely can be reduced, and it can be beaten. Collaboration is important for us. Vigilant on consumers is even more important. Our consumers understanding that cheap does not necessarily mean good. Because some of these cheap products, you do not know who and where were the manufacturers. You do not know what you are consuming. Be vigilant, look at the product and see. There's a number of instances where you look at the product and you see yourself. You can say, okay, is this a genuine product? Is it a real product or not? You must look at the details. Is there a manufacturer information address? Needs to be there. You need to look and say from a date of expiry date needs to be there. You need to look at the color of the product. You need at the seal of the product. There's a lot of instances where consumers need to be vigilant and know what they're consuming. So a key issue, especially with the unfortunate event here that we have had in South Africa of our children passing away in the township, was because of food safety issues and food handling issues. The way that sometimes informal traders handle food is not in the same manner. Washing of hands, something as simple as washing your hands, is the best way to make sure that the consumption of food that you are handling is done correctly. So the food handling, food safety is our biggest challenge, and it's where this food is handled. Where is it put next to pesticides, as you had indicated earlier on, is put in with the storage of the food, the categorization, because in retail or in the manufacturing environment, there's something called category management. You put different categories together in different format. There's a cold chain that needs to be maintained, and these are all the lapses in controls and adherence to food safety standards that we have seen that has resulted to this big challenge that we are facing in the country.
All right then, thank you so much, CEO, Consumer Goods Council of South Africa, Zindley Chikwe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has congratulated Nigerians who have won elections in foreign countries. In a congratulatory message to them contained in a statement by NIDCOM, Chairman CEO Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa hailed their victory at the polls, applauding them for breaking such records in the political arena of the different places of residence and setting standards. The four Nigerians include a US-born Nigerian Dr. Oye Owulewa, Chiaka Barry, Segun Adeyina, and Yemi Mobolade, who all won elections into various elective positions. While Dr. Oye Owulewa was re-elected as the shadow representative for the District of Columbia under the Democratic Party in the US, Chiaka Barry got elected into the Australian Capital Territory Legislative Assembly, covering the Ginindera district under the Liberal Party. Segun Adeyina was re-elected as state representative of District 110, Georgia, USA, and Adeyemi Mobolade was elected as the mayor of Colorado Springs in 2023, making history as the first black person to attain such feat. Ms. Dabiri Arewa commended their relentless efforts and strive to success, urging them to keep up their resilient spirit as they carry out their duties respectively. Thousands of Nigerians living as asylum seekers and irregular migrants in various countries across the world desire to return home, but are unable to because they do not know how. Or organizations like IRARA help provide trusted, unbiased support and guidance to individuals wishing to return by empowering them to improve their economic and social situation to pick up their lives again. Recently, the organization hosted an EU delegation in Lagos, which has pledged its support for IRARA's cause. Our foreign affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani reports.
Every year, large populations of Nigerians make their way out of the country using regular and irregular means. The promise of better lives abroad is a lure for many. Unfortunately, many dreams are never realized, promises are crushed, and people are stranded. IRARA, a global team of humanitarian and immigration specialists, has been working together to ensure positive futures for everyone. The organization is operational in more than 20 countries, working with people returning to their country of origin.
As you know, migration is a global issue. You know, it has become a topical issue across the world today. Many people are moving in search for greener greener pastures, or, well, like we say, better places, either for work or for family reunion or whatever. Some of them are people who are also fleeing conflicts, and people who wish, to get a better life, Unfortunately, they arrive these countries and maybe the expectations are not met, or they are not able to meet the immigration conditions in these countries, and they return back home. They have to return back home. So what we do is providing dignified return, ensuring that they come back home in a dignified way. They get support to start either a business, to, start a normal life back home.
An EU delegation is here in Lagos at the IRARA office to oversee its functions. Led by the team leader, Ruben Alba Aguilera, it says the delegation has been in Lagos for the whole week to better understand how EU support works in practice.
Nigeria hosts many migrants from West Africa and beyond, but we are also very much aware of how many Nigerians are also looking for better opportunities abroad, in particular in the EU. And not all of them, unfortunately, manage to succeed, and they sometimes want to come back. And I think it's also about providing second opportunities for some of those Nigerians who are voluntarily and willingly hoping to come back, because there are opportunities here in Nigeria.
The visit in Lagos includes a stopover at the International Organization for Migration office in Ikeja, Lagos.
We know that many young people want to japa, they want to leave the country, and I think it's just a dream that many have, and we try to promote also legal pathways. There's a number of students, there's a number of scholarships the European Union offers, such as the Erasmus Mundus, on top of what our member states are doing. But we are also very concerned about all of those migrants, those Nigerians who find themselves in the hands of human trafficking networks and criminals. And we are doing what we can together with the Nigerian authorities to put an end to these kind of situations.
Human trafficking in Nigeria has been attributed to population boom and unfavorable economic conditions that aggravate unemployment and insecurity, causing citizens to seek for better opportunities abroad. Amarachi Ubani, Channel Television News.
Well, for 80 years, the British Council has been in Nigeria supporting peace and prosperity by building connections, understanding and trust between people in the UK and countries worldwide. The British Council in Lagos held a ceremony to celebrate the occasion.
The British Council office on Thompson Avenue, Ikoyi, Lagos, bustling with activity more than usual as it welcomes guests, partners and employees to the celebration of its 80th anniversary in Nigeria. Guests take pictures with the British Council props on the grounds as visual artist Hanifa Adam live paints portraits of Nigerian youths portraying the theme for the celebration, amplifying voices of the future. Inside the hall is a formal welcome by the acting country director of the British Council, Chilufia Bessa, and an opening address by the deputy head of mission, FCDO, Simon Field.
Amplifying the voices of the future is especially fitting for our 80th anniversary in Nigeria for several reasons. But the most important of which is Nigeria has one of the youngest populations in the world, with nearly 70% of its population under the age of 30. By adopting this theme, we're indicating our commitment to empowering young people who are Nigeria's future leaders, creators, and innovators.
The creative industry, I'm sure we can all agree, has been identified as one of Nigeria's fastest growing sectors, and one of the fastest growing sectors globally. In the creative sector, the British Council has worked with hundreds of Nigerian artists and enabled collaboration with their British counterparts, helping to showcase Nigerian creativity across a global stage.
Years of groundbreaking discoveries and insights.
Poets Kehinde Adolo and King David Ayo Loto give special renditions, highlighting the British Council's work in Nigeria.
If you're going to make money from a thing, you have to have stake.
Two fireside chats laden with business patrons and government officials discuss financial freedom in the present economy and how they overcame challenges in finding their purpose.
Everywhere you collaborations, look at how you're all here, take pictures, put it up, let that sign show. I'm telling you, it just hypes you up, and it has helped us, both financially and also helped us as a company to always want to maintain the standards, the quality, integrity, because we don't want to fall British Council's hand.
Yeah. You talk about access to capital, access to resources. Quite a lot of upcoming have forgotten anything about regulation. And regulations can easily kill you down.
Founded in 1934, the British Council is governed by a royal charter. It works in over 100 countries, promoting a wider knowledge of the United Kingdom and the English language, and encouraging cultural, scientific, technological, and educational cooperation with the United Kingdom. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Have a lovely rest of the day.